Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Bashirs.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode number 173 and a half. This is the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where we do an in-between episode, where it's not a full episode, it's just a quick, actionable tip that you can use to grow your veterinary practice. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about one thing that has really helped me in terms of improving my digital marketing, and I think this is going to be very helpful for you too. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe in iTunes or Google Play or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And then the next thing is that I want to mention here too is that I have a free private Facebook group called the Veterinary Marketing Nerds. It's almost at 1,000 members. Once I hit 1,000 members, I'm going to do a free training that's in-depth on Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, and also Google Data Studio. How those three products work together beautifully. So I just wanted to mention that. Head on over there if you're not a member already. I'm going to have a great free training here. It's probably going to be in the next week or so. So let's jump into today's episode. Now, I want to tell you one of the things that had a huge impact in my marketing abilities, specifically in campaign performance and also just in general, different kind of key designations that I've made, has been that I read Ray Dalio's book called Principles. And in that book, Ray talks about him going through in his business and approaching everything systematically, and he was obsessive with it, which is why his fund is likely the reason why it was the most successful hedge fund ever. But one of the distinctions that I got from him was that he tracked every single trade he made, what he thought going into it, what he did based on those thoughts, and then what the result was so that he could learn from it. And then he eventually took all of those and he put it into a computer so that he could create a model to build his trades around. It's super interesting. That's not what I'm talking about today, though. What I took from that was that I need to be taking better notes of how I'm creating content, how I'm creating ads, the targeting that I'm using, the things that I'm trying to target, the different angles and the emotional angles that I'm using, and the different calls to action that I'm using. And so it was actually back in November of 2017 that I started doing this. And I basically, anytime I would create an ad, I would talk about the avatar, the marketing angle that I was doing, the target audience that I was testing, the calls to action that I was testing, and the end result. And so in just the simple act of writing it down, saying, here's what I'm actually going to be trying to target, here's what I think is going to happen, and then reviewing that at the end of the week, saying, did this happen, yes or no, it was very, very helpful. And especially if you're not running a tremendous amount of ads, like I started doing a huge volume, so I would just basically take the big campaigns and review those, and I was creating a systematic way for me to improve my digital marketing, and that had a huge impact on the quality and also the results that I was able to carry forward. Because if you don't do this, you have to kind of just reflect back and think to yourself, well, you know, what works? What should I try? I think that worked. I think this was a good thought. I think, you know, going through all of these different things that you're testing and trying out, it's really hard to know for sure what's working unless you take time to actually review and make these kind of changes and things that you're doing. So I think that's a great, especially if you're trying to get better at marketing, you're trying to understand which levers to pull to produce results and success in your practice. So I'd love to know, though, what are your favorite things that you find has been, you know, helpful in improving your digital marketing? Be sure to reach out to me inside the Facebook group. I would love to know what you're thinking. But this one was actually really, really helpful for me. So anyways, hope that you enjoyed this episode. I will see you on next week's episode. Have a great one.